Alright, I've made a couple of attempts to get the lagginess down as much as I can, and I think I've pretty much done it. Okay, essentially this is where you start, and I'll give you a little tour of the NPCs that have merchandise, and then I'll explain some of the crafting that goes on here.
Oi, what can I get ya?
So all of the items are given random affixes. Some of them can come up socketed. Those are different styles of armor. But everything is generated from a single palette item and given to you with a fresh name and the prefix and suffix modifiers. Rares only come with weapons, and they can have up to 5 modifiers. They can get pretty strong, but they're still not in the class of the uniques and the rune words. As you can see, uniques have a much more interesting array of things they do. This one has on-hit damage scales with level, 1 bonus attack per turn, heal on hit scales with heal skill. That's just info for you, mostly. Item scales with levels, lightning damage, and heal on hit 1-to-1 ratio. And it breaks shifters. I'm sorry. So when it says scales with level, that on hit unique power will get higher the higher level you are. And those affixes you see below will get higher also. I think it gets up to like +8, and then like 2-6, 2-8 or something like that, electrical and slashing. The heal skill is very important, so you want to crank that up. That gets your when you hit stuff that's a valid target, like a fleshy creature, you'll get between 1 and whatever that heal skill is. Actually, there is a baseline that's somewhere around 10 plus your heal skill, and that'll give you an instant heal whenever. Well, it's not instant, it's actually a 3/4 second delay. And then there's also a cooldown on that, so as you're attacking stuff, you'll be getting heals dumped on you depending on how much you've sort of set your character up. But definitely, if you're fighting melee, you're going to want to have that heal skill as many points as you can. Some items get all the way up to 3-to-1 ratio, meaning 3 points of heal for every point of heal skill. And that's affected, it's not base. You'll also see items that have 1 bonus attack per turn, and all of these effects stack as long as they aren't the same item. And you know how, if you're an experienced player, you know this, but I'll explain it now, just in case you don't. Is if you take, if you watch what he's doing, he did 2 hits there, then he's going to do 1 hit and 1 hit, and you get 3 volleys. And then he did 3, does 2, and then 1, and then 1. If he had +3 bonus attacks, then each one of those rounds would be 2 hits. And he's only a level 1 guy, so for a level 1 character to get 2 hits per volley, you're pretty much guaranteed to kill whatever you're immediately fighting. One of the differences is this game has a tendency to mob you up. We'll go watch this player do the secret passage as a sort of aside. You want to take advantage of all the potions that you find because they make you stronger and more durable. Things like chests are sweet. They usually have a little bit more in them than barrels and weapon racks. This player's already finished this level, or else it would be really murky looking in here. As you saw right when we exited, that's what that area normally looks like. It's hard to see. And that character got jumped. I wouldn't exactly call that the bow of destruction. Needler, it's not that bad. It's just not that good until you get some more levels. Oh, Doombringer, yeah, that's more like it. Hoorah, cleaving! Doombringer also does magic damage on hit, like a Darkfire hit, but a magical extra hit. This could be bad. He drew a champion, it looks like, and they hurt extra special. It's got a nice little bunch of little drops there, too. I'll let him pick them up before I look at them. In Neverwinter Nights, it's very important for you to have a place where you can rest. So I put these little tweener areas in these Tristram areas. The first three areas: the caves, the catacombs, and crypts. So people like casters and wizards can reset their character by resting. It's always sweet when you pull off 3 in a row like that. Kill a whole spawn just by like, hi, I'm here. Wham, 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 wham. This player drew another champion. Yeah, sometimes you'll get a champion right out of a boss spawn. I'm not sure if this character's going to go through here or not. And that would be a yes. That aura does acid damage, plus it paralyzes. Only for like a second or two, but it's pretty annoying. And it can happen on heartbeat, too. So you might be in the middle of like, I'm going to smash this, and then suddenly you're paralyzed. It's really annoying. Especially if it's high enough level that you got to beat on it for a few seconds. As you see, they get bonus XP or bonus hit points, so they can be up to 4 times their normal hit point value. I'm going to go back to town and get back to explaining the crafting stuff. Just wanted you to see a little bit of gameplay while we were at it. That player is fairly new too, so they're just sort of experimenting around with the stuff they're finding. Okay, one of the first things that you'll want to do when you enter into the server is you'll want to read the hometown manual. It'll be in your inventory, probably on the very top page. That'll give you an idea of some of the spells and feats and things like that have been altered. The next thing you'll want to do is look at this. These are recipes similar to what you would have found in the Herodric Cube, but for us, this room is the Herodric Cube. And that thing in the corner behind piles is your where you mix up this stuff, like the add sockets you do in the anvil. You mix your stones and some other recipes you do in the apparatus. It sort of makes sense, you know. And there's a not crafting, a tailor over here too. These guys don't edit the armor that you're wearing, but what they'll do is they'll sell you for fairly cheap a blank armor, and then what you can do with the blank armor is you can stick it in that anvil over there with the right other items and make yourself a nice whatever you call it, socketed item. Then you can put a rune word in it. Once it's a rune word, you can put dyes on it and stuff to make it all look custom and stuff. But this is the way that you get the model parts that you want from these guys here, depending on male and female. This is SEP, so there is stuff that's specific to those different genders. Jillian buys your clothing, and she sells too. Clothing, belt, boots, cloak, and she also does bows and crossbows. It's important to check Jillian when you're new to the server because she can have resistance items, physical resistances, which is handy against guys that are trying to hit you with axes.
What can I get you?
Well, if you're a wizard, you would like this. Bludgeoning, it's not as important as slashing and piercing, but you need to have those resistances covered or else too much damage is going to get through. And once you get to level 2 and 3, you'll start to notice that damage much more than in level 1, where you might be able to AC it off. But you really want to have those resistances covered. And also the same thing with elemental resistances. All the items are created randomly, so and they're all from the same base item, so they're actually scripted to have different like prefixes and suffixes added as they go. So I think you get the idea here. It's important to visit Wirt because he's he has the possibility of dropping a unique item. Those uniques are pretty good.
Hello.
Wirt changes his inventory about every 15 minutes, so every time that you come to town, you'll want to run over and check and see what's Wirt's got. And if you're AFK, you might want to sit here AFK, and keep the thing open. Like if you're doodling or doing something else, keep that open and sort of check, and you'll see it recycle. And you might get some access to some things that you wouldn't find until much later on, like the Immortal King set pieces, the Monk set, which is called Warrior's Way on this server. Those pieces can be very handy, even if you're not a monk and you're going to use the whole set. You might get lucky and find the boots, and the boots are very good. Most people have them as their end-game boot selection, is the monk set boots or the IK boots. They have a lot of favor to them. Natalia set boots are also something that people like to wear. You can also get runes out of this shop. Sometimes they drop all the way up to Dull, I think. Putting together the Aratha set can give you haste. You just have to have the whole set on.
Hello.
Heal kits are really only good if you happen to be really low level and you didn't get hit with enough damage to put you at -10. As you get higher up into the game, you get beat up. You don't usually survive when you fall down like that. The Tome of Town portal is something that you will buy a lot of on this server. This is your Tome of Town portal, and when it expires, it disappears, so it's not like you can keep replenishing it like you can in the original game. It'd be nice, but that's not how it works. Stone Skin Potion and Potion of Protection. These are critical to success, is collecting potions out of drops, bosses, and chests and stuff. Having the right potions available at the right time, or the right buffs from these potions active when your character doesn't normally be able to cast it, or can't normally cast it. Very important. So you're going to want to make friends with Pepin, for sure. Server hasn't reset for a while, so don't ask me why they put that stuff in there. I think somebody was just being cute and decided, well, people need these heal kits. I'm trying to promote heal kits, so I'm going to stick them in here. Should probably make these undroppable, but, you know, if you were going to go do Act 3, you might want to have these because it would save you having to go into that dungeon. Yeah, I should probably fix that. So I think I've given you a pretty good sort of base introduction to the server. Check your hometown manual when you first log in. I'm going to log out and I'm going to show you how to log in, how to find the server in the list real fast. Okay, and then I'm going to shut it down. And we'll do a live stream later when I can get some players together and have like a little smash fest through hell or something like that. To see the earlier areas, I would just recommend going and looking at one of the other streams that I've done. And I think there's a very long one where I go through crypt, cats, and the caves. So what you'll do is you'll hit server name. It defaults to players because, I don't know, Aerolith bribed them to change it so that they'd always be on top. Well, Ravenloft is now beating up on you, and you deserve it. So you hit server name, and the way that we set up the server is so that it comes up at the top from there. That way our players don't have trouble finding it. I'm going to try to do these live streams on a regular basis, mostly just not to promote my server, but to promote the fact that there's a handful of very good action servers out there that you should check out. And if you're not interested in the role-playing game side of Neverwinter Nights, well, there's other stuff to do besides play pretend. And I'm going to try to promote some of the better servers that do that. Cool. And we don't have DMs. We don't mess with you, even though I will log in as a DM and kind of poke around. For the most part, the server is self-sufficient and doesn't need DMs, so we don't have them.